seriously got into photography in high school. I learned how to develop film and take pictures for my newspaper. After that, I became an art major and then ultimately an art director. So landscape photography didn't really come into my world until about 2010, 2011, when my husband and I were visiting Yosemite. Yosemite has become really, really special to me. It's just really because of my love of place that I keep doing it.
See the shine on that rock, but the polarizing filter just knocks that down a little bit. So now it's darker. Landscape photography is really slow, deliberate work. Intimate landscapes, it's even more deliberate.
Intimate landscapes are where I hang my hat, if you will. Basically, they're landscapes made famous by Elliot Porter, who was a landscape photographer about the same time Ansel Adams was doing his work. And he was doing kind of the antithesis of the wide, grand landscape, and he called them intimate landscapes. Basically, when you derive a smaller scene out of a larger scene, and typically you eliminate the sky, and you try to break the scene down to its most elemental pieces. A place like Yosemite National Park, when you break it down to something small, there's an infinite palette for you to work with at that point. Northern California was my playground for sure. I grew up camping and backpacking and fishing, and anything that was outdoors, I was out doing it. My dad was an avid mountain climber and outdoors person, and he raised all 9 of us to be like him. My dad died in a climbing accident when I was very young. So in a way, you know, I feel like I'm carrying on that family tradition for all of us. And I taught our sons how to rock climb, and I taught them how to camp and be outdoors and be respectful of nature. And so now they're carrying on that tradition of loving nature and the outdoors. Right now is 2019, and we had a pretty severe drought that lasted about 5 years here in California. So that left our forests vulnerable to fire, and of course fire is part of nature, it's part of maintaining a healthy forest. But at the same time, with climate change and temperatures rising, and our summers are stretching out longer, fires have been happening more frequently, and they're bigger fires. This looks like a giant foot to me. I keep wanting to photograph this, but it's a little hot right now. If those clouds keep going over the sun, I might be able to do it. Maybe we'll hang out here for a minute and see what happens with those clouds. I shoot with 2 different Canon bodies, and I have a variety of Canon lenses, but my go-to lens for this kind of work is my 70-200 Canon. It's a f2.8 version 2. I love that lens. I swear that lens has a special quality to it that does intimate landscapes really, really well. This year we had record snowfall in our Sierra Nevada mountains here, and consequently our waterfalls are just gushing right now. I use a tripod, 7.5 feet, tall. Now, it's not that I need 7.5 feet of height, but I need that kind of height because sometimes I'm on a bank and I need to extend the front pole all the way down the hill to stabilize it. And that tripod is very, very stable.
It's really quite beautiful, actually. And I'm getting a lot of those beautiful splashes coming out into the sunlight.
Yeah, this is one of the more well-traveled, popular parks. Lots and lots of people from all over the world come here. My project Human Nature is in its infancy right now. What I want to show is people interacting with these beautiful landscapes and hopefully getting across the point that we are part of nature. I'm hoping to hold up a mirror to that to people so that they can see, if you want to be part of nature, you have to be more than just an observer. You have to accept your part in it. That's Nevada Falls, the big one right there. And then below it is Vernal Falls. The sun is setting at my back, and if there's enough light, we get this beautiful glow on Half Dome, and then these clouds can light up. So we'll see. We wait. There's so many photographers up here doing fantastic work of Yosemite Valley. Michael Fry, William Neal, Alan Ross. The challenge is to come in and say something unique and add to a conversation rather than just repeat what's already been said. I'm not saying that going to iconic places and taking that same perspective as someone else is a bad thing. I do it too. We are copycats, and it's important for us, for our survival, to be really good at mimicry. And so we do that really, really well. And I think that's why we see so much sameness right now in the landscape and nature photography world. But I'd really love to see people break out of that and start creating stuff that's unique and original. And make, risk making some mistakes and risk making some really bad photographs. I make tons of bad photographs, and it's because I'm experimenting all the time. I'm taking risks, I'm trying things that probably aren't going to work, but I learn from those mistakes. That step is when you begin to show yourself as a real artist.